being completely injured. And essentially it was like the whole world was telling me like, when are you going to fucking listen, Corey? Like sit down and pay attention. I just wanted to jump on this podcast today, guys, to give you an update of what's currently happening in Corey Boutwell's life. Oh yeah. So big wins that have happened recently is I booked Japan, America, and Dubai all within a week. And I haven't traveled since I think I was 25 years old, and I did like a Europe trip. And that to me was a trip to get over an ex, essentially, and to start a new relationship with someone else. So sort of like this integration piece, because I remember even deciding to go to Europe with one of my exes, and then like we broke up. So before we went to Europe, I said I'm still going to go, and that was sort of like I'm going to go anyway because she's going. It wasn't 100% for me. However, I got a lot out of that, and I learned a lot recently doing my own personal development, especially in regards to experiencing freedom. Like I found I wasn't experiencing any freedom in my life, and I was feeling stuck in my business about what to create. I was feeling stuck in my relationship. I was feeling worthless and helpless. And I knew that was just a feeling because my mind knows that was not the truth. So it's just really interesting when you see those feelings and emotions coming up. You're like, why are these coming here? Anyway, I did a lot of deep introspection, and I wrote some letters to like young Corey because I realized that I was feeling really angry and frustrated with how things are. And I'm like, well, what emotion did they come from? And that came from when I was 15 and 16. I was like singing, dancing, and acting at that time. And like my parents split up, and it all got really chaotic, and I had so much pressure on me because I was working like, I didn't go to school like 3 days. Well, I went to school every day, but had to leave early like 3 days a week to go sing, dance, and act. So I was doing like 14 to 16 hour days at a very young age. So we'd get up at 6:30 some days, and I wasn't getting home till 9, 10 o'clock because I'd go to school, drive to singing, dancing, and acting, and then drive back home. And then like in holidays and on weekends, I was working, doing clowning or on gigs, on film sets or something like that. So, and I realized that I was pretty burnt out at that age. And I was so angry and frustrated at the world because I didn't get school holidays, which I was so angry at Dad for. I remember he sat me down after I finished school, 16, 17 years old, something like that. And he sat me down and he goes, what are you going to do now? And I was like, man, I am just excited as hell to have like 6 to 7 weeks of just school holidays to then figure out what I truly want to do. I'm even thinking about having a gap year. And he was like, well, you're not having holidays. You're not having a gap year. If you're not doing that, you have to work with me immediately and come work with me now. Otherwise, like go find somewhere else to live. Essentially what was his words. And I was like, shit, well, I guess I'll just go work for you then. I didn't realize how much I hated it until I started, working with him. It was fine for like 2 weeks. And I was like, he's the worst. I needed to experience this freedom. And that was because he never experienced freedom. Now, we attach all of our lessons that we learn from our parents and we put them onto ourselves. And that comes in the form of conditioning and patterns and behaviors that affect us to this day. And until we notice exactly where they come from, and until we start doing things and aligning our current behaviors and our current mindset with how we currently want to be, then we can stay trapped in a state of our bodies or an age that we were at until we figure it out now. We can say, some people say trapped there forever. And what I noticed was my grandpa spent all of his money traveling and has no money, nothing to show for it. It's very unsafe. And my dad's had to like buy him a place in XYZ, like a real small little place to help him survive. And Dad had built a business for himself, and he didn't want to spend any money on traveling. And I didn't realize that, that then affected me. Is I had this thing for myself that was like, I can't experience freedom unless my dad experiences freedom. I booked tickets to Japan, and the next day I was like, dude, you need to take, you and your wife to Italy. Like you guys have to go and do some travel. Like you've made the money, you've put yourself in the position, go get after it. And he was just like, no, like I've got too much shit to do from business, even though he's like automated himself out. I was like, what the hell? I got so frustrated. So I had to like dig into like where that frustration was from. And that was from 15, 16-year-old Corey who didn't get a chance to have school holidays and experience that freedom. Now, for me, that meant a lot. And when we think about our childhood, there are so many things. Like we experience way worse stuff. We've gone through things that have been so hard, and we see things at moments of our life where things sort of change forever with the perception. And at that moment, when my dad said, no, you're going to work with me forever, it just put a cage. Work with me forever is what it feels like. This is what I said. That wasn't the case what it was, but that's what it felt like. When he put a cage catered on me and said, you got to work here. It's just when I just like squashed my freedom. I then didn't experience freedom in relationships. I got like cheated on heaps of times. I didn't experience freedom with travel or money or friends. I just got into debt. I got heaps of fines. I was crashing my car. I was getting like I would just find any reason to lose money or not have it, which would just kept making me feel and experience not being free. Now this come from a position where I was like, 10 years old, 12 years old, making $50 an hour for acting and clowning gigs. Like I'd go and I'd make more than an apprentice would at the age of 10 in 4 hours than what they would in a week. So working with my old man like that was, for me, just felt like it was a very big shift that I had to try to cope with and change. And then bring that to now when my business starts growing and I'm experiencing thriving, but I've still been stuck in a survival state, has affected for my creativity and how I show up and what I want to do. And when those blocks come, it's like, okay, that's what personal development's for. That's why we got to dig deep, and that's why we figure these things out, to understand the patterns. And the minute that I wrote a letter from 15-year-old Corey to 30-year-old Corey, I had one of these most emotional moments. I was writing down this letter to myself in a big, like I got this right here, you can see it. Big A3 pen and pad of paper, if you're watching the video. If not, you can hear it. It's just a big piece of paper. You can see like how much I've written on these, just wrote the pages full. I wrote a letter from 15, 16-year-old Corey of how angry he was at the time and just frustrated. Then I wrote from me talking to 15, 16-year-old Corey, telling me that I've got his back. And it was really emotional. I get emotional even thinking about it now, because I was like, man, I have created the vessel that 15 and 16-year-old Corey always needed. I am the mentor that I always wanted. I have created that person. I am that masculine energy, the masculine role model, the guidance, I have the body, the mindset, the communication, the self-awareness, the direction, and the purpose that you, 15, 16-year-old Corey, wanted and yearned and craved and was crying for. And when I understood that, I was like, wow, like for me, it was just like that part of myself can live an experience through me now and can say goodbye to all of the negative emotions and feeling stuck that he was feeling all those years ago. And I don't have to bring them with me for my next journey in business, in purpose, in fulfillment, in life. And when I understood that, I just went, well, I am so free. I feel completely unstoppable. I booked tickets to Dubai. And then I booked tickets to America to go to Coachella with my partner. Dubai is a self-exploration journey for myself to go network and have fun and do business things. And it just like, it was just crazy what I felt after that. Like as soon as I had those booked, I was like, I feel incredible. I feel free and I can do exactly what I want. And I had this like overwhelming sense of like just wash over me. And that's like the importance of emotional intelligence and just being able to have that awareness. Now, I didn't get there by myself. I had to ask other people questions, which was another step or phase of actually being willing enough to ask people like questions and ask for help and ask for support in order to get there. But once I got there, I did the sessions, did some light hypnotherapy, talked to my personal development coaches, and I just booked those things. Yeah, immediately like all my creativity come back. It was really interesting. And yeah, and once I got through that, I've just felt really connected and really present. And even just noticing, like, it's just so funny that when you have moments like that, and if you're not listening to what is coming up, and even though I am feeling more connected, was like 3-4 months ago, I got a bulging disc in my back, my L5, bulging straight into my sciatic nerve, experiencing sciatica. If anyone's experienced sciatica, one of the worst pains ever experienced, ever. Feel so sorry for you. And I don't wish it upon anyone. Like, it's one of the worst things ever. And like, it's even like hurting a little bit for me sitting right here. However, it's getting so much better. It's almost done. Like, we can see the finish line, guys. But it was like 3 months, 3 months of just being completely injured. And essentially it was like the whole world was telling me, like, when are you going to fucking listen, Corey? Like, sit down and pay attention. I realized I hadn't been meditating. I used to meditate every single day. I hadn't been prioritizing healing and recovery. Like, I love saunas and ice baths. Hadn't been doing those. Hadn't been doing any of my warm up stretching routines. Hadn't been going to any yoga or Pilates or anything like that, which I really like to do. Like, I thoroughly love yoga. and I hadn't been spending any time with my friends. I'd just be doing business, but not even business. I'd just be on my stupid phone, just like going back and forth here, there, everywhere, trying to feel productive, trying to find something to do in my business because, I thrive and teach and leadership, and my team are honestly crushing it to the point that I get to my team and I'm like, hey guys, what do I got to do? And they're like, make some content. And I'm like, but what content? I want to strategize stuff. And like being in that position, yes, it's so blessed, but at the same time, because I wasn't doing anything productive and I'm just like sitting on my ass all day, not working my body in a way that it would like to, and not eating as healthy as I would usually do. And don't get me wrong, my eating healthy is elite. It's basically like I've just been eating the exact same thing every single day. So it's like, probably get some diversity, bro. Slow cooked beef, rice, and the same veggies every single day. Might be handy to change that up. So obviously just eating the same thing every single day for a period of time and not adding all the extra potions. Like I used to have a lot of matcha. I used to have a lot of I still do have quite a bit of bone broth, but like I'd have more bone broth and I would include all these different, I'd create these potions, and I've just been sticking to the basics, which for me is a little bit subpar. And because like those things are happening and spending more time on my phone at night time and not reading before bed and not writing out my goals before bed, just a few of those things when they slip start to come up, and that's when my body is bang. Like you got to start to listen here. I've like been more connected with my parents. I've spent so much more time with my friends. I have recovered and focusing on recovery. I've got a health coach now, and like I was doing so much biohacking and health coaching for people before I was getting into personal development and helping people transform their business and their relationships purely through personal development, that I was like, man, I love this stuff and I forget it. As an entrepreneur and business owner, you are the $1 million racehorse. And the more you put into yourself, the more you're going to get back out of things. And if you want some help and support with that, like we're the best place to go. All the systems, the coaching, everything's provided. Shoot me a DM or book in a call with me, and I will run you through the process of what our program goes for. Currently, if you're listening to this and it's in 2023, August, we've got 50 spots available, and we have a capacity of 50 spots in the Set the Standard community. And currently there's like 32 active members, meaning there's only 18 left to go. So, and until we increase capacity some other way. So get in quick, especially jump on, be a founding member. But besides that, like understanding all of those things for myself and putting them all back into my routine, because my routine sort of crept up on me, because it's still really good, but it's not as good as like recovering and actually enjoying life. That I experienced more fulfillment. I was getting more sun. I was getting more creative. I made these big decisions in my life that actually feel so fulfilling. And as a business owner, I wrap myself in the mindset of the only fulfillment that I want to have is the impact that I want to create with the people that I want to help through my business. And that's quite self-sacrificing and people-pleasing. And when we forget that, okay, we have to fill up our own cups first, or we'll never have the energy to maintain and sustain, what we want to do and the impact that we want to create over a long period of time, especially if it's not productive. Like it's got to be productive. And we know it's productive if we're getting really good results and we have the time for ourselves. Like ask yourself the questions like, why did you get into business? Why did you start your entrepreneurship journey? I bet like 10 times out of 10, it was like, okay, I want to have money so I can be free, so I can travel, I can work on my health, be the best version of myself, go to the gym a couple of times a day or whatever it is, make sure I can stretch. I've got some time for my partner that I can spend with them, enjoying life with them, and make all the money in the world so I can experience that freedom. And I don't know if you're like me, but for me, it's to create impact and change some people's lives so that before I die, I have left this world a better place. And if you're like that and you notice that that's the things that you want to do, and if you're like that and that's the things that you want to do and you're not doing them currently, then like, what was the point of your business? I remember like I literally was like, I cannot wait to have my own business so that I can train for 1 to 2 hours, like 1.5 to 2 hours every single day. I can do my warm-ups, I can do my stretching, I can train and just take my time. And I was like, man, I have been timing, this was me. I'd wake up, listen to an audiobook on my, like hydrate, take sups, audiobook on the way to the gym. I'd pack my clothes the night beforehand in my bag, get to the gym, work out for only 45 minutes, have a shower at gym to save myself time, get changed at the gym, go home, start my day's work, and basically just work till the end of it. And I'm like, man, if and one of my mentors told me this, is like, if you just spent a little bit of extra time focusing on what you truly love, in regards of spend your time at the gym, like do that, fill up your cup, come home, cook all your food for the next, 2-3 days, whatever it is, pack them in the meals, get it all organized, get it sorted, do something fun. Like, if you really like that, like go for a quick walk or a jog. So then when you attack business, you've got nothing else to worry about. And when you attack it, you absolutely crush it. One of my mentors, he goes surfing all the time. He's like, man, I'll surf. I won't touch my phone. I'll go surfing. I'll get the barrels. I'll sit on the beach. I'll breathe in the beach air. I'll look at the ocean and he's like, I won't even get started until 9, but you best believe from 9 until like 6 p.m., I am a machine who was just crushing absolutely everything. No excuses. I'm on the phone. I'm creating the content. I'm making the plans and doing everything that I can every single day. I am going to war, but I look after me first. And I was like, man, I really, really like that approach. And now on the other end of, basically, I can't train at the moment because of my back, XYZ. So I've just been doing Pilates and yoga and getting back in touch with spirit and meditating lots and eating really well and spending time with my friends and recovering, and just feels like my soul is just like charged up. I'm like, man, I've got so much energy. As soon as this back's done and I've got the AOK permission to go and train hard again, I'm like, this is going to be the best. I'm going to go out and hunt and have so much fun in my business, in my community, like running the hot seats, creating new courses. We've got a retreat coming in February, the Next Level retreat, which is amazing. We only release a couple of tickets at a time. So if you're interested in that, send me a DM and I'll let you know if we have any spots available. We send this like mind-blowing retreat that we have, and like doing workshops and traveling the world and Australia, touring and helping people change their lives. However, doing it by putting myself first. So if I can give you one message from this entire podcast, is put yourself first. For sure, charge yourself up. And if you're not in a position to do so, then honestly, what the fuck are you doing? It kind of angers me a little bit when if you're not in a job that you love, right? Because you don't have to love it every day. You don't have to like it every day as long as you love it. If you're not in a job that you love, then what the fuck are you doing? If you're not working on a business that you genuinely love as an entrepreneur journey, then why are you doing it? And if it's the purpose to create freedom for yourself and you have this motivation where it's like, I want to be a business owner and like own multiple businesses and have like a business portfolio because that's who I identify myself as, then fair enough. Like go and create as many businesses and find the gaps in the market and empower people to do so. But if you're not in that position or that's not who you want to be, then find something that you love doing and do it. Just make sure you're putting yourself first through that entire process, which is what I've been doing recently. And oh my goodness, it feels so much better. We had some huge months in business. And it was great. So if you like this video, subscribe. Thanks for the update. Would love to subscribe or send to someone else. See you in the next one. Big love.